you have a stomach of steel and a VR headset, plus an extra $50 Canadian lying around, then The Sims 4 in VR is a good method of gaming for you. You might have guessed it. Over the holidays, my husband and I finally got ourselves a VR headset. This is something we've wanted for years, and we've been very fortunate to be able to save up and get one. Of course, the first thing I wanted to play was the Beat Saber. It was Beat Saber. And after that, naturally, I was going to play Minecraft. After a little bit of everything, I decided it was time to play the Sims, not Spider-Man. Jokes aside, I desperately wanted to try Sims 4 first-person mode in VR. Well, it went, well, it happened. That's for sure. Let's start off with the biggest thing here, the price tag. And oh boy, was it ever big.
That's what she said?
The headset alone was a lot of money, but you also have to purchase this program on your computer called 4Packs. This program costs around $50 Canadian, and apparently there's going to be a price increase soon. Anywho, 4Packs allows you to play PC games in your VR headset. You do this by connecting it with yet another thing you have to buy, a long USB cord. The program, in theory, is pretty sick, especially if you own other games, preferably first-person ones, that you want to try out in VR. For me, that would be Portal, maybe Half-Life, but honestly, it was mainly for The Sims 4. I did search for free or other versions of this because I'm broke, yo. But alas, it doesn't seem like a similar program exists for free or any other way. It made me kind of sad that I was spending the same amount of money I would for a Sims 4 expansion pack for this program, but I tried to convince myself that this wasn't a waste of money and I would totally use it. If I were to rank affordability out of 5 stars, I would give it a 0. This is going to be a quick little assessment. How comfortable is this experience? Yeah, well, it's not the worst thing ever. The cord makes the front end of the VR feel even heavier than it already is. It's better if you're sitting down and you have access to your mouse and keyboard. Even then, you can't really see any of the windows in the VR headset. You want to see your Sims needs or job performance? Well, too bad. You got to squint and look out from underneath the VR headset at your computer monitor for that. Come on. The VR controllers are just horrible to use. You really cannot use them. Maybe I'm just being picky since I only ever play Sims 4 on PC and I low-key hate using controllers for this sort of game. I don't know. I don't think that even the most seasoned console simmer would enjoy using these VR controllers. I might have to go see a chiropractor for my neck pain now, and that's why I rate this a 1 out of 5 stars. It's a shame how bad it is to use the first-person camera in VR. I wish that this camera mode was made specifically for VR. It's almost there. Almost. The camera needs to be a tad bit steadier, the movement a wee bit smoother, and I shouldn't be able to zoom far enough away from my sim where they're just hanging out headless in a room. That's not really a first-person camera position now, is it? I can see a future where life simulation games are made for VR headsets. It would be a great way to truly immerse yourself into the world and lives of your characters. However, this is not it. It was incredibly difficult for me to play this game like this. Just a horrible experience. You have to be very careful when you select things because it tends to end up not being where you thought you were clicking. There were many times where I accidentally made my sim walk outside when I was trying to click on a spot on the floor right in front of them. Like I said before, it was actually impossible to see any important information about your sim. You're not able to see any of these windows right here while wearing the VR headset. It just doesn't appear in the headset. Since you're in the first person mode, you can't even check their plumb bob to see how their needs are. If you were serious about playing Sims 4 like this, then this would be the hardest difficulty due to this issue alone. I get motion sickness from VR games, especially if you're walking around in them. I'm happy to say the walking part didn't really make me feel very sick, but how all of the objects appeared did. My sim picked up the violin and started playing it, and oh gosh golly, was it ever sickening. And not because they were bad at the violin, but that didn't help either. The violin appeared very distorted. This is a huge issue. I found myself closing one eye to see better and to feel less ill. I did adjust the VR headset straps where it's positioned on my face and the lens. None of that seemed to help with this distortion. With all of that being said, I'd give Playability 1 out of 5 stars. I did not enjoy this experience. I really wanted to. I've dreamt about this moment for a while now, and it did not live up to those dreams. You could really only enjoy this if you play one single sim with no other characters in your active household. You'd have to get used to how it works with the selection tool and be fine with not knowing any information. It would also make sense to avoid situations where you get knocked out of first-person mode, like going to work or school. In all honesty, I did enjoy this sort of view. The headless one. It felt more immersive than playing on a regular old monitor, and less annoying than trying to do the first-person mode for realsies. In fact, if I could see these panels better and if the camera wasn't so wonky, I might play like this every so often. I would rate this with a 2 out of 5 stars simply for that headless weird angle view. Overall, it's very clear that this game isn't built for VR. It's lacking in almost every way. In the future, I'm sure there'll be life simulation games similar to the Sims franchise, made specifically for VR, but that's only going to happen when VR headsets become more affordable and worthwhile. Despite it being the way of the future, there's not a lot going on for it currently, particularly in the life simulation genre. Thank you for watching today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are about VR gaming in the comments section. I hope you're staying happy, healthy, and hydrated. Until next time, bye!